In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the concepts and core technologies of Migrate for Anthos. I'll explain how it works and the use cases that you should consider when migrating VM-based workloads into Kubernetes. Okay, in this session, we're going to dive into Migrate for Anthos, talk about what it is, why you should care, and then we'll get into some demos. So first off, what is Migrate for Anthos? This is a little different than Migrate for Compute Engine that came out of the Velostrada acquisition that Google did. It's a different use case. That's more of a virtual machine to GCP use case. What we're talking with Migrate for Anthos is the ability to containerize existing applications and bring them into GKE. Those existing applications are generally Linux-based applications running on virtual machine. And the whole value prop around this is to increase your time to value if you're in transformation projects and on a cloud journey. Some of the main platforms that we're able to do these migrations from are obviously VMware-based workloads running on-prem. We can take AWS virtual machines, EC2 instances, move them into GKE. We can do the same with Azure. And we can also take virtual machines that are running in Google Compute Engine and bring them into GKE environments. So let's dive into the architecture that's required for Migrate for Anthos. The first piece of the puzzle is generally leveraging a cloud interconnect or a VPN between the various environments. This allows us to transport the amount of data required securely across various cloud providers or your on-prem environment into GCP. We'll cover off some of the components that are required when deploying Migrate for Anthos. The first thing that we have to deploy is our Migrate for Compute Engine manager. It's running inside our VPC in GCP. If we're interfacing with VMware environments, we need to deploy the Migrate Compute Engine vCenter plugin. That'll allow us to connect to the VMs running in vCenter and stream them into the environment and running in GCP. If we're pulling virtual machines from AWS or Azure, there's no plugin required. We just need to provide the appropriate credential. You'll see down below here, we've got Kubernetes engine that will be the end state for our containers running after the migration. The other thing that needs to be deployed is the Compute Engine Cloud Extension. That is deployed across two different regions in GCP. And what will happen is we'll stream the data into this and will be streamed down into a persistent volume into Kubernetes. These are the main components that we're leveraging to do a migration. We'll dive into the steps that are required in a few minutes. Some of the benefits of migrating virtual machines and containers are security optimization. You don't have to worry about the kernel updates and patching. Your containers are generally updated and the core operating system that's running your GKE platform is locked down. You get more density. We can run additional operating systems on a single environment. We can benefit from isolation, fine-grained resource controls, network permissions, all the core benefits you get from leveraging a Kubernetes environment. Integrated resource management is a big one. Being able to manage these resources, do different tagging strategies, selector policies, and managing more about the application and less about the infrastructure. Some of the side benefits you get are things like third-party integrations, things like Istio for telemetry and getting visibility into your applications, the ability to leverage things like Stackdriver. All the great benefits you get from Kubernetes environments, you can get very quickly when you migrate some of these applications into containers. Having a look at the core list of operating systems that are supported, you'll see a lot of them are based on Linux operating systems. Those are the core use cases we're diving into right now. There's a lot of new developments coming on the Windows support side, and we'll dive into that in other videos. But keep in mind, the Linux workloads will be migrated quite easily. You're probably wondering what applications are a good fit and other ones that aren't such a great fit. Good fit applications are obviously web servers, application servers, things that are handling stateless applications and serving traffic out to customers. Benefits would be being able to scale these, deploy patches very quickly. You'll see a lot of middleware applications that are attached to front ends, multi-tier VM stacks, think of LAMP stacks, WordPress applications, things like that. Small, medium databases are okay in these environments. We generally don't want really big, powerful databases. Other use cases are lightweight applications, bursty workloads, perfect for development and test, training lab environments, things that we need to spin up on demand. Other apps that are always on that don't use a lot of resources and services, but they're taking up a lot of memory because they're running on a full virtual machine. Some use cases aren't great right now. High performance, large in-memory databases aren't a great use case for Kubernetes in general, so they're not a great use case for migration. VMs that have specific kernel drivers, dependencies on specific hardware. Some software requires dongles and licenses that are running inside virtual machines. Those aren't use cases we're going to go after. And as I mentioned, non-Linux based workloads. Windows is coming soon, so keep an eye out for that, but we're really focusing on Linux-based workloads right now. Let's review the process to migrate your virtual machine into a system container running on GKE. Initially, Migrate for Anthos will convert the virtual machine into a system container on GKE using a stream process. There's no need to pre-build your containers. Migrate for Anthos is going to look after this for you. Initially, the data is streamed to the source platform using the Anthos CSI driver. At the completion of this process, the storage volume can be exported to any provider supported by GKE. We'll show you this process in action. Let's have a look at a typical enterprise use case. On the left side, you can see our corporate data center with our VMware environments where our VMs are running. We've got Active Directory and DNS services. We've got our plugin that's going to allow us to stream data into our GCP environment. On the right side, this is our GCP environment in a VPC. We've got our two cloud Edge A and Edge B that we're going to use to stream the virtual machines in. We're leveraging some storage on the GCP side to stream our data before we push it to a persistent volume into Kubernetes. This is the process we're going to go through to get these VMs migrated in. So if we look at the typical migration journey to GKE, we've got a few options. We generally want to go through a discovery phase and start to understand the application profiles and select the right ones. That involves some planning, looking at the applications, seeing how people connect to them, what ports are exposed, what storage they need, things like that. So having a good CMDB or an idea of what applications are going to migrate and what they interact with is always good. We can move virtual machines straight into GCP running on Google Compute Engine and then migrate them into Kubernetes, or we can skip that step and move right into GKE. We're going to go through the migration process and then validate that the applications are online. We'll go through an optimization phase and do performance testing, make sure the applications are performing the way they do before we cut them over into a production environment. The nice part about this process is the first couple applications teach us a lot. We're able to refine the process and then leverage these learnings for other applications. This helps us speed our migration journey and help with our transformation efforts into containers. I hope this talk helped you understand the powerful capabilities that Migrate for Anthos can deliver on. In my next video, I'm going to demo the tooling in action and migrate a two-tier VM-based application into Google Kubernetes Engine.